Hello, lovely. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And thank you for purchasing the Self First experience. I'm so excited to have created this experience for you and to bring it to you as well. This is your masterclass that goes together with your journal and the other support resources that I will be sending you throughout the duration of the 4 weeks. But this masterclass is really uncovering a little bit more about the self first approach and also why self care is so important. So, I'm going to ask you to bring with you today an open mind and an open heart as I share perhaps some new concepts and a bit of a new approach for you, but also to bring forward a sense of curiosity to encourage you to ask questions as we move throughout the masterclass today. Whilst I'm going to be giving you some information and guiding you with some tips that can support you, this is also about what works for you. So please, I encourage you to take what works for you and bring that into your health plan as you see fit. Also, this is a general education masterclass. If you do have medical conditions and issues that you need professional help for, I encourage you to go and seek that. I won't be diagnosing or prescribing today, so this is really for general education purposes only. Now, as part of your Self First mini experience, you will have received your PDF format self care journal, which is going to be a beautiful space for you to connect to you, to reflect, and to note some reflection points as you move throughout your 4 weeks. You're, of course, getting this masterclass. You will have a simple awareness exercise that will be emailed to you in week 1 as well, which is a beautiful 3-minute guided meditation, if you will, that is really great for you to do before journaling or as part of your self-care routine. And it's just a chance for you to create some center for yourself and also connect to the body and your body and the true beauty that you are. The weekly emails that you'll receive over 4 weeks are just offering some extra guidance and some extra ideas on how you can prioritize your self-care as you move through not only this 4-week journey, but as you move throughout it beyond as well. I will be asking you to think about stillness and connection as you move throughout the 4 weeks, creating awareness, so self-awareness, recognizing that you're worth taking care of, and encouraging you to approach yourself with kindness. Now, before I actually want to move you into a beautiful exercise before I talk about the self-first approach and self-care, but those of you who may not be familiar with my story or may not be familiar with my work, here's just a little bit about me and what my health journey has looked like up until this point. I was someone who spent most of my adult and teenage life yo-yo dieting. And it got to the point in 2014 where I was honestly at my wit's end in terms of my health, in terms of my weight loss and what that looked like for me. I had tried so many yo-yo diets that I had lost count. And I found that whilst they worked for a short period of time, they didn't help me sustain that health that I wanted long term as well. If I'm honest, I kept thinking that that next diet plan was going to be, the quick fix and was going to give me the result that I was after. And it got to 2014 where I just became so fed up with that. I became so fed up with how I was feeling in my health, in how I was showing up for my family, and how I was showing up in life. And I was really at that point where I thought that there was nothing else that I could do. And I remember saying to my husband, where does this leave me? I feel like I've tried everything, nothing works, and I'm not sure how to move forward. Equally, though, whilst I was having that thought, I remember obviously speaking that out loud to him, I then found myself going, well, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. I'm not happy feeling the way I feel. I'm not happy feeling like this is all that there is. And so it was after a suggestion from a friend who said to me, why don't you try going and seeing a naturopath, that my whole world and my whole vision for my health started to completely change. So I'm so thankful for that friend who recommended that I go and see a naturopath. Why was this so important? Well, it was a huge turning point for me for two reasons. Firstly, it enabled me to begin to explore my health from a whole person viewpoint, which is what I'm going to start to take you through today as we talk about self-first approach and self-care as well. It also helped me put an end for looking for the quick fix to solve my health problems. The quick fix was no longer going to cut it anymore. And it was another big point because it gave me that connection with her and that opportunity to work with her. And it gave me the chance to seek support from her and to understand that what I'd been doing with my body was not working. And if I'm honest, I really just needed her to reassure me and tell me that it was going to be okay, but to help me work out the steps to move forward. And so my journey of exploring health from a holistic viewpoint began. So did my journey of taking responsibility and ownership for my health as well. So throughout the few years of working with my naturopath and since moving, beyond that and continuing to move myself forward in my health, I really have explored my health as an overall picture and as an overall vision. And it's also helped me see that, those symptoms and those signs that I was getting all those years ago, so the lack of sleep, my perception of the stress, the yo-yo dieting, and my mindset were all playing a part in where I was at with my health and well-being. I was essentially continuing time and time again, over and over, to deplete my body, and I was making it go into survival mode as well. So as I mentioned, I really did become fed up, but it was also a really important turning point for me because it gave me an opportunity to begin to make some different choices. Now my health continues to evolve and I continue to adapt, because what I have also learned to appreciate is that what works for me today might need to change in 6 months' time as I move throughout different times in the year, different phases in my life, and different parts of the aging process and the well-being journey as well. So I love that, because no longer am I stuck to the rigid diet plans and the restriction and the deprivation. I'm looking within now to figure out what works for me as well. So before we begin talking about self-first approach to your health and well-being, I would love to do a beautiful experience exercise with you. So I'm just going to ask you to find somewhere quiet and comfy to sit or lay. So I'll give you a few moments to get ready for that, and then we'll begin. Okay, so hopefully you have found somewhere quiet and comfy to sit or lie down. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes now and just focus on your breath. So a deep inhale and exhale completely. A deep inhale, breathing in fully, and exhale completely. Deep inhale fully, and exhale completely. Place one hand over your heart and one hand over your belly. Take a moment to connect to your body and connect to you. Take a moment to appreciate just how beautiful and magical you are. Inhale fully, exhale completely. Let yourself know that you're opening yourself to a sense of wonder, to connect with what your heart needs, to connect with what your spirit needs, and connect to what your whole life needs. Know that you are being guided with kindness and love. Breathe out the judgment, the shame, the guilt, and the restriction. Let it go. Breathe in the love, breathe in the kindness, and exhale completely. Trust that you have what you need. Trust that you know what you need. You will know how to nourish your body. You will begin to reconnect to the signs and the messages that your body is giving you. You're learning to trust in the knowing that you have the guidance that you need. You know it's within reach, the resources that you need and the support that you need. Inhale fully, exhale completely. Inhale fully, exhale completely. And when you're ready, open your eyes and know that you are taking a step forward in taking care of you. Okay, so now I'd like to share with you what I like to call a self-first approach to health and well-being. Now, not so long ago, I didn't understand, nor did I appreciate how putting myself first could make a huge difference to my health and then in turn my life. As a mum, I felt like it was my role to look after my family and everything that entailed. And that was my primary focus. I balanced family life, work, and social life around running on an empty tank. I'm not quite sure how I did it for so long. However, I knew that I was doing none of those elements right. And I was left constantly feeling tired, exhausted, overwhelmed, and unhappy. Now, I continually notice that other women, particularly mums, are in a similar pattern or a similar cycle. Because as women, we're constantly assessing what and who needs our help and attention. And we prioritize that time and time again over the priority of looking after ourselves. So we're continually leaving ourselves off the list. Now, as I started to make some shifts in my health and wellbeing plan, and I became more appreciative of the fact that when I looked after myself first, I was able to fully give to others, I really made some huge shifts in my health that have helped me keep moving forward. A self-first approach is also giving you the opportunity to press pause on the external advice, the external plans. You know, those plans where we think, oh, this is going to be the thing. This is going to be the thing that fixes my health. This is going to be the thing that helps me shift my weight. This is going to be the exercise regime that's really going to take my health to the next level. Oh, my friend tried this and it worked for her, so it's going to work for me. A self-first approach is going to give you the opportunity to press pause on all of that. Of course, we might need some of those resources and plans down the track. We might need help from professionals down the track, but in the first instance, it's allow you to press pause and come back to you. It's going to allow you to press pause and also take the responsibility or the ownership, if you will, for your health and well-being. Just let that sit with you for a minute. It's going to give you the opportunity to take responsibility or ownership for your own health and well-being. So it's going to give you the the opportunity, I guess, to be pressing pause on that external, tuning out the noise, tuning out the overwhelm, and encouraging you to step forward for you, to do the inner work, to notice the internal messages that you're giving, or become aware of those internal messages that you're giving as well. It's allowing you to then make choices with what happens in your health and well-being through the connecting and the communicating with yourself. I think particularly in the health and well-being space, this approach is so different because we're really programmed, or we're led to believe that you need to follow a strict diet plan. You need to be rigid in your approach to your health and well-being. And perhaps they have a place at a certain point in time. But what I know is true for me is that whilst that plan and sticking to that plan for, say, 4 weeks or 6 weeks might work for a short period of time, but if I'm not changing myself and my mindset and doing the inner work that I need to do, those diet plans are only going to help me for a short term. And I know that they haven't helped me move forward as well. And I think when I was stuck in that diet plan and the rigidness of that as well, often what that comes with is deprivation and restriction. Deprivation and restriction is not giving yourself and your body the love and support that it needs. Think about all those things that you have perhaps missed out on, or the times that you've missed out on. And whilst I'm using, dieting and diet plans as the example here, I appreciate that might be different for you. It might be an exercise format. It might even be how you show up in your life. It might be career focused, for example. So, just be mindful of that and think about an experience that this might connect for with you as well. But if I think about the diet plans and the yo-yo dieting, and it left me in that restriction and deprivation, what that looked like for me was that, okay, this diet plan has said that I can't eat this food. So when I'm sitting at the table eating dinner with my family, I'm not having that food because it's bad. I'm not having that food because it's going to make me feel guilty or shameful if I eat it. It might mean missing going out on a dinner with friends and enjoying the beautiful dinner and the experience that is, because you're so worried about and feeling so shameful about the food choices that you might make before you've actually even made the choice. I know that happened time and time again for me. I was so, caught up in that thought process of what's good and what's bad, that I spent so much time and energy thinking about that I then couldn't enjoy the moments and when I was in them. So this is going to ask you really just to, to press pause on some of that and think about the choices that you're making in a much more different way, and a much more nourishing and nurturing way as well. A self-first approach is also about you giving care to yourself and bringing attention to the concept of taking care of yourself, so that you can move through your day and make the choices that, of course, you need to make in your day, and taking those actions from the place of caring. Bringing the importance of caring to the forefront of those daily actions is going to show up in how you treat yourself, how you speak to yourself, and how you take care of yourself as well. The self-first approach to me is really about being able to be and step into being the best friend for myself, supporting my core values and showing myself respect, and making the deliberate choices to choose to look after myself and give fully to myself. Because what I have learnt throughout this journey is that when I give to myself and I choose myself, I can then fully give and support my family and others in a much more better way. And I'm going to share more about that in a little while. Fulfilling your own needs will reflect in how you then show up for other people, and how you show up for your family, how you show up for life, how you show up for your job. Fulfilling your own needs will give you energy. It will fill you with energy. It will fill you with life, and it will fill you with love. And that much more positive energy, and in showing up as yourself, it shows everyone how they can then treat you with the same love and kindness that you're treating yourself as well. And opening yourself up to the energy allows you to receive more of that energy too. The self-first approach is giving you the power of pouring into you. And how can you do this? And this is what you'll be guided through in your self-care journal and the weekly emails that you'll receive over the next 4 weeks. But it's the power of pouring into you through stillness and connection. It's the power of pouring into you through awareness and creating self-awareness and giving yourself the chance to reflect during that awareness time. The power of pouring into you is going to guide you towards prioritizing yourself and your self-care. And the power of pouring into you is going to give you that energy of kindness and compassion. When you really feel and appreciate the goodness and the energy of giving to yourself and the importance of caring for yourself, this will change the actions that you take and how you show up in your day. So think about how you might be currently showing up in your day. Is it waking up in a fright and jumping out of bed as soon as your alarm goes off and already showing up in that low energy state and that stress state because of what you know needs to unfold in front of you in the morning? You know that you have to get up and you need to get breakfast for the family, get school lunches organised, and get the children ready for the day. And you've jumped out of bed doing that before even pressing pause and considering what you might need for yourself in order to get yourself moving forward in the morning. Are you arriving at work a bit frazzled and a bit not really knowing what day it is, but arriving at work and being given a list of jobs that you're automatically frustrated by and flustered over because you know that you only have, or you feel like you only have limited time in your day, and frustrated because you said yes again to tasks that you know you don't have the time to complete, but you're doing it because you feel that you need to. Does your day then look like rushing out the door of work, picking up kids from school, getting in the door, getting dinner organised, making sure everyone's fed and everyone's looked after, putting some washing on, doing the dishes, feeding the dogs, walking the dogs, and then flopping into bed at the end of the day, feeling exhausted or overwhelmed and tired, exactly how you were feeling when that day and that morning began. Now let me ask you this question and give you a thought to ponder. Why is it that we continue to put the needs of other people first before thinking about what it is we need for ourselves? As women, and as mums particular, as I shared that where I was in my journey, we're constantly assessing what and who needs our help and our attention. And in doing that, we're constantly leaving ourselves off the list time and time again. I'd ask you to take this in for a moment. If we don't have time for ourselves, soon we're going to be left with nothing else to give. Nothing else to give our family, nothing left to give to our friends, nothing left to give to our career or our job, and nothing left in the energy that we show up in for life. We put others' needs first, but I really encourage you to think about why that is. Are you scared or worried about letting someone down? Take a moment to jot down what pops up for you about that. Do you really need to fit it all in? Do you need to get all of the tasks done in a day? What would really happen if you didn't get them done? What stops you from putting yourself first? Here's a couple of examples for you. Is it because you're worried about what others will think? Is it because you feel like you will miss out if you don't go to that social activity or that social event? Are you not choosing you because you're stuck in that self-guilt and that shame and that judgment cycle, which was me after coming from the yo-yo dieting cycle that I was caught in? The constant need to find solutions and fix the problems of others is a really unproductive way to use your time and your energy. So take some time to reflect on anything that has popped up for you. Now, when we approach a self-first take on our well-being, we can then typically behave in a much more kind manner and a much calmer manner, not only with ourselves, but with everyone around us. A self-first approach will help enhance your mood, decrease your stress hormones, and also allow you to reset and recharge. Now, I'd like you to acknowledge and appreciate that your whole body works as a system. So no part works independently. And therefore, our stress, whether that be our day-to-day stress, our environmental stress, or our perception of it, has the ability to affect some of your functions and your body working well. Your stress can be internal or it can be external. It can also be real stress or perceived stress. And of course, what that looks like for everyone will be different. Everyone's stress will be different and our perception of stress will be different as well. However, what we can do is, rather than focusing on what we're experiencing in a given time, we can focus on how we're experiencing it. And that really comes into play when you spend some time around creating self-awareness and connection as well. You'll begin to learn and see and recognize that you are constantly receiving feedback from your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, and even from your environment as well. Now, to give you a really simplistic overview of how this can affect and influence body systems, I'm going to just talk to you today in a really simplistic overview about your nervous system and how stress can have an influence on that as well. So everything in our internal and also our external environment influences the nervous system. Now, within our bigger nervous system is our central nervous system and our autonomic nervous system. So the autonomic nervous system are those, things that happen behind the scenes in our body. So what runs our body? So our heart beating, our breathing, our temperature control, the rate that our hair grows at, and all of those things. So the processes that we're really not needing to think about. Two parts of that autonomic nervous system that I'm going to focus on is the sympathetic nervous system, so that's your flight or fight system, and our parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and repair system. Now, both of these systems are designed to be in balance with one another. However, most of us today are spending far too much time in the sympathetic nervous system side of the equation, so in that flight or fight mode. So through our constant rush, our constant perception of stress, our internal stress, the external stresses, then are putting your body into that fight or flight mode. Now, that was true for me was, the lack of sleep, the feeling tired, the not fueling my body, so depriving and restricting my body as opposed to fueling my body. Even, the mindset that I was in as well was leaving my system time and time again in that flight or fight mode. I'd really, got my body to a point where I deprived it so much it was in survival mode even. So that flight or fight mode can upset a number of our body systems, including our hormones. It can leave you feeling or decreasing your digestive system activity. It can affect sleep rhythms, and as I mentioned, for me, it affects the sleep, but it also affected how I even took care of myself as well. We don't want to be activated by the fight or flight mode all of the time. How can we press some pause on being in that mode all of the time is by taking on board the self-first approach and tuning into your own needs. So have a think about, how can you tune into your own needs? What are the things that are currently holding you back from taking care of yourself? What are these? Take some time to think about that now. What holds you back from taking care of yourself? What holds you back from prioritizing your own needs? Now, the answers that pop up for you here are going to be the clues for you in how to make some changes and how to make some different choices. What does a self-first approach and listening to your own needs mean to you? What does it look like? What are the feelings that brings? What can a self-first approach, what can the impact of that be for you in your life? For me, self-first approach, what does that look like for me? It means pressing pause when I need to, listening to what my body needs, fostering that relationship with love and kindness and compassion for myself. It means choosing to take care of myself, exploring what adds to my energy and what depletes my energy. And it also means checking in with myself to see how I'm feeling. Now let's spend some time talking about self-care and how you can use that as you begin to foster and nurture that relationship with the self-first approach and caring for yourself and taking care of yourself. I really find that self-care really couples really well with the self-first approach, because self-care helps you lay the foundations in making yourself and your health a priority. So it lays the foundations for making it a priority to look after yourself, and it's going to give you the opportunity to make some little shifts day to day, just in small pockets of time. You'll discover how to choose to prioritize your health and well-being through the small daily actions. You'll also have the chance to create awareness and reflect on what may or may not be serving you, which is going to help you find some clarity to move forward as well. Self-care and the self-care activities encourage you to be kind to yourself and encourage you to slow down and press pause. It also encourages you to find pockets of time to do what feels right for you. So have a think about this too. Is there a day in your week, or is there, even if it's half a day or half an hour of your time, could you gift that time to yourself to do what feels right for you in that moment? So removing all the distractions, removing all of the thoughts of what you think your self-care needs to look like, and really just going with the flow and being flexible about seeing what unfolds. Be flexible in seeing what shows up, in what feels right for you in that moment. Be guided what you believe that you need right in that moment and right in that time, which will start you really strengthening that opportunity to start to be in touch with yourself and your own needs. We're also going to, through self-care, create some awareness so that you can really relate to yourself and observe how you're showing up in your life, and begin to make some choices around a mindful practice in supporting yourself as well. Now, often when we talk about and when we think about self-care, what shows up in that for many people is that they think that looks like getting a massage, or getting our hair done, or our nails done, or going and buying that new bag, or treating yourself. And whilst they're great opportunities to treat yourself, and I'm not saying never to do those things again, I'm going to ask you to expand what your idea of self-care looks like for you. Really expand that vision and have a think about what other activities that you love to do that really fill you up with good energy, that make you feel joyful, that make you feel the love and connection, and are just those things that you look forward to doing. What are those activities that cultivate those great feelings inside of you, and how you then show up in life following them? So here's what I have chosen to be what self-care is for me. Self-care for me is a walk in the sunshine, experiencing that sunshine, experiencing that warmth, so taking in that light from the sunshine. Taking in that light from the sunshine allows me to glow, and honestly, I feel that energy from the inside out. Self-care for me is about daily movement and aiming for 10,000 steps a day. Now, what I will say with this is, and I think, and this is something I've struggled with in the past as well, is when a self-care activity, so 10,000 steps, for example, might look like a goal. I have learnt to let go of the expectation of that result. Now, what I mean by that is that what I used to do is that if that goal or that daily activity was not met, I would then beat myself up about it. I'd step back into that shame, I'd step back into that guilt and that sadness, which would then keep me stuck and not wanting to move forward. What I've learned to do is actually be okay with that not being met, because it gives me the chance to check in with myself. So check in, okay, why didn't I meet that today? How was I feeling today? What other things did I perhaps need to do today? And reflect on that, and be okay with knowing that tomorrow I have the option and the choice to work on that again. Self-care for me is giving myself breakfast, which again was something I'd let go of from those many years of yo-yo dieting. So self-care for me now is choosing to give myself a nourishing breakfast. Self-care for me is cooking for my family and sitting down and having dinner at the dinner table. Now, don't get me wrong, I still enjoy warm baths and those special treats, but those self-care activities I just mentioned for you are the things that I can do in my day-to-day. They're the daily actions that I can deliberately take in order to fill myself up and give myself the loving energy that I need. Now, when you're thinking about self-care activities, and when I'm talking about laying the foundations for you, I'm going to relate this back to what I was just sharing about us being in the flight and fight mode all of the time. The self-care opportunities and the activities that you choose to do every day are also going to give you the opportunity to create space for activating your parasympathetic nervous system, so the rest and repair side of your system. When your body's constantly getting the stress signals from the everyday issues and the everyday to-do tasks that you're trying to do, you will burn out over time. So reframe your thinking of self-care in terms of giving back to the rest and repair system that your body needs. If putting yourself first seems too hard or too selfish, or you feel like that shows that, it shows up with, the guilt for you, think about it like this. So I'd ask you to reframe it and think about it like this. Think about it as choosing to pour love into you. Think about it as choosing to pour love into you. Now, here's a bit of a reflection point for you. How can you create space in your everyday life for some self-care rituals, not just in the times that you are stressed? Regular practice of the self-care activities hopefully brings down your stress levels a bit. But what it also gives you is where you might find yourself in a time of stress, it gives you a resource to come back to, because you can go, oh, you know what? If I take that 5-minute walk around the block, or I sit out in the sunshine for 5 minutes, it's going to help me bring some balance back to my stress levels a bit. So it's regular practice over and over in whatever that looks like for you. When I talk about over and over, it's about how that fits in with your life. But it's that regular practice you can come back to time and time again. And also think about what are the self-care activities that you can do that come easily for you, so that you don't feel like you're trying to take on too much at once. What are some activities that you can deliberately do in your day to take care of your mental, emotional, and physical health? What are the activities that bring you joy and that make you feel good? And I'd also encourage you to take some time to journal and note down, what does self-care look like for you? I've shared, of course, what self-care looks like for me, but what could it look like for you? Self-care can also show up in other ways. It might be that self-care is making the effort to prepare nutritious food for you, even when you're feeling too tired at the end of the day. It might also be getting up from your work desk and going for a quick walk, or grabbing yourself a glass of water. It can also be self-care, and I do this, I have my phone on silent for most of my day. Self-care can be not responding to a message or a phone call as soon as it comes through. Self-care is showing you how to prioritize your own needs. Self-care activities can be an opportunity to nurture you, to give yourself some space and bring some light to your day. Also, as you begin on your self-care journey, and perhaps you're trying different self-care activities to find what works for you and what's right for you, use your self-care journal to note down the activity that you've done for the day, and journal on how were you feeling before you did the activity? How did you feel after it? And is it an activity that you feel like you could regularly fit into your day? And what impact did it have on your energy? So utilize your self-care journal to connect back to the self-first approach, to connect into finding the awareness and reflection that you need as you begin this journey, and also use it to guide you towards that regular practice of self-care activities. Now, I just wanted to spend some time just going over also some ideas and some tips that can help you as part of this journey as well. And we're going to have a look at healthy boundaries and how they can really encourage you and engage you in taking control in a really healthy and practical and useful way. And I find that healthy boundaries then give me the opportunity and permission to fit in the priority of taking care of myself, and therefore the self-care activities as well. Healthy boundaries too will help you navigate through the day, and they'll help you make the day-to-day decisions and choices that you'll need to make as you begin to foster and strengthen putting yourself first. So a healthy boundary is about showing yourself what is important to you. It's about showing yourself the respect that you need. And it also helps you not only make, as I've mentioned, the day-to-day decisions, but it'll help show the people around you. So show your family or your work environment, whatever this is for you. But it shows them how to show up for you and how to respect you as well. Okay, so what are some boundaries that you might need to set as you navigate through the self-care? So it might be for you that you might need some boundaries around learning how to say no when you automatically say yes. It might be, what are you watching on TV or in the media? What are you letting come onto your to-do list? Where do you need to apply some boundaries in order to prioritize your health? Now, when we're talking about setting healthy boundaries, this is really helping you see how to be in flow with the intention of your priorities. So, some questions that you could ask yourself when you're thinking about healthy boundaries is, what am I allowing into my health right now that is nurturing me? What am I letting into my health right now that is not nurturing me and is depleting my energy? What is the impact of letting those energy depleters stay in my life? So you get to choose where and how you spend your energy in every minute, in every moment of your day. So work out what boundaries you might need to establish in order for you to give to you. Now, also be okay with these boundaries perhaps needing to shift from time to time. It's life, things come up, things pop up. So be okay with them shifting, knowing that you can reset at any time that you need to be or that you need to. You're setting healthy boundaries so that you can take care of yourself, and then you can take care of others around you. Now, something else that I wanted to share with you today in terms of giving to yourself through self-care is looking at this from a 5% approach. So from the small changes and the small pockets of time you can find for yourself. In the health and wellbeing space, often we think that it has to be an all or nothing approach. And what I'd like to show you is that it does not have to be that way at all. The 5% approach asks you to look at what are some little changes, 5% changes, that you can make in your day that can help you take the responsibility and ownership for your health and how you're showing up. So here's a sentence that I heard from Jack Canfield, which is, if I were to take 5% more responsibility for my life and my well-being, then you complete the sentence. If I were to take 5% more responsibility for my life and well-being, and complete the sentence. So how would you complete that sentence? What would that look like for you? As I've said, it is what you do every day that impacts on your health. It's not what we do occasionally, and it's not what we do from doing a complete overhaul. It's the small moments, it's the small choices that lead to the bigger impact. So here's a couple of examples for you. If I were to take 5% more responsibility for my life, my health and my well-being, I would go to bed by 9:30 p.m. 3 nights a week. Now notice I didn't set the intention of doing that 7 nights a week, particularly when you're starting out. I can now do that now, many years into my journey. But starting out, you want to look for an opportunity to add these in a way that is going to work for you, but also in a relatable way, which is what the 5% approach allows you to do. So you're not going for that all or nothing, where, okay, it has to be 7 nights a week or nothing at all. We're looking for the pockets of time. If I were to take 5% more responsibility for my life, my health and well-being, I would drink 2 more glasses of water every day. So not 2 more litres, 2 more glasses is achievable for me. So what are the achievable 5% approaches you can find? If I were to take 5% more responsibility for my life, my health and well-being, I would get out in the sunshine once per day. If I were to take 5% more responsibility for my health, my life and my well-being, I choose to give myself a nourishing breakfast. So what's something right now, and use this in your journal. There's also a really great self-reflection part in your self-care journal, which might help you highlight where your priorities might sit for you in terms of your priorities for your health at the moment. What are one of those things that you can apply a 5% approach to right now? Something easy, something that's not overwhelming that you can start doing and that you can implement into your life and your health right now. This is really an opportunity for you to begin to get clear on what you want and what you need and what you don't need in your day and in your life. This is going to give you the opportunity to get clear on how to act on your health daily. It's giving you the chance to make the choice in doing the little things consistently. Now, I know that I've shared a lot with you today. I've introduced you to the self-first approach to health and well-being. I've asked you to explore and embrace what self-care can do for you and how it can support you in moving forward in health in your life. And my hope is that I've started to expand your vision for what this can really do for your health and well-being. Now, I would ask you to embrace the process and not the result or not the outcome that you'd like. Remember, it's one step at a time. The journey is about the power of pouring into you and pouring into you with love and kindness. So keep an eye on your inbox and you will be receiving each week over 4 weeks, the 4 weekly emails that are just going to give you some more guidance and support as you move through this journey as well. And utilize your self-care journal to reflect and connect and keep you moving forward on your journey. And I'd like to leave you with this today. I choose to love myself. I choose to choose myself. I choose to nourish myself. I choose to trust myself. I choose to prioritize myself. I choose to get to know myself. I choose to respect myself. I choose to forgive myself. I choose to give to myself. Thank you so much, lovely. Thank you for spending some time with me today. I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Bye for now.